Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to, well, being brilliantly informed. Today, we're plunging into the pretty chilling world of Freida McFadden's psychological thriller, The Crash.
Definitely chilling.
Yeah. So our mission, like always, is to cut through the noise, pull out the really key insights from this book that everyone seems to be talking about. We want to help you understand, what makes it tick, where maybe it stumbles a bit, and basically arm you with enough info to decide if it's the next read for you.
Sounds good. A real shortcut.
Exactly. And just to set the stage, to give you a real feel for the kind of unsettling vibe The Crash delivers, let me share this one line that really got under my skin. We have an expensive hospital bed paid for by insurance in the basement, and that's where you want to spend the night. Trust me.
Oof. Yeah, that's unsettling is the right word.
Right. Just picture it. You're at your absolute weakest, maybe after a horrible accident. Someone says that. It's supposed to be help, but it feels just profoundly, terribly wrong, doesn't it?
It really does. Immediately signals something's off.
Yeah, it primes you straight away for a story about betrayal, that fierce maternal instinct, and a desperate fight for survival where, safety is just not what it seems. So, okay, let's start unpacking this. The premise. At the center, we've got Tegan Werner. She's young, pregnant, and already dealing with a lot of pressure even before things go sideways.
Right. She's already vulnerable.
Totally. And the inciting incident, the crash itself, it's literal. A really brutal car accident, middle of a snowstorm. She ends up stranded, hurt, completely at the mercy of the weather and everything else.
Just a nightmare situation.
Exactly. And then, out of nowhere, this glimmer of hope, a guy named Hank and his wife Polly show up. They offer her what seems like, a total lifeline, take her into their remote house.
Classic rescue. Or is it?
Well, that's the thing. As soon as Tegan crosses that threshold, this creeping sense of unease starts settling in. It looks like kindness, this refuge. It starts to twist. It devolves pretty fast into something much darker.
Manipulation. Hidden motives.
Yeah, manipulation, hidden motives, a whole maze of psychological stuff.
It's such a masterful setup, isn't it?
Yeah.
McFadden just hits those primal fears right away.
How so?
Well, you've got that trifecta of vulnerability, like you mentioned. Extreme isolation, the storm, the remote house, Tegan's physical injuries, and then, maybe the biggest one, her pregnancy. For anyone who reads thrillers, these elements just scream danger. They amplify every little threat, every odd look.
It's not just her life on the line.
Exactly. It's about protecting that new life, little Tuna. So the reader immediately questions every kind gesture. Is it genuine? Or is it part of the trap?
And the trust she has to place in them.
Becomes the very thing that traps her. Yeah. The sanctuary turns into a prison. It's a classic suspense trope, sure, but McFadden makes it feel fresh and, honestly, terrifying here.
And that precision just cranks up the stakes, doesn't it? Tegan's not just fighting for herself. She's fighting for her unborn baby, little Tuna, as she calls him.
Which is such a humanizing detail.
It really is. And it's not just a detail. It's like the engine driving her. She has to handle immediate physical danger, her injuries, and this intense psychological manipulation.
All while protecting this tiny life.
Yeah.
The fear isn't abstract, is it? It's completely visceral, deeply personal.
Yeah.
And connecting that back to the sort of broader thriller genre, McFadden isn't exactly reinventing the wheel, but she uses these core elements so effectively. Take the isolation. It's not just background scenery. It's like an active force in the story.
How do you mean?
It cuts off any hope of outside help, right? Forces Tegan to rely purely on herself, her own wits, her instincts. It makes the terror so much worse.
Makes sense. No escape route.
None. And a pregnancy, that vulnerability, both physical and emotional, it's like a narrative shortcut straight to our protective instincts. It bypasses your brain, and it hits you in the gut.
So it creates these incredibly high emotional stakes very quickly.
Precisely. It hooks into universal fears, health, trust, the huge responsibility of becoming a mother. It sets up this terrifying, almost primal thriller foundation that clearly a lot of readers really connect with.
Okay, so we've got the setup. Let's transition now and really dig into the core themes that drive The Crash.
Right.
One of the biggest and maybe the most emotionally charged has got to be survival and maternal instinct. Like we touched on, Tegan's pregnancy isn't just a plot point. It's the absolute center. It shapes every single thing she does.
It dictates the risks she takes.
Yeah, the risk, the endurance she has to find somehow, that desperate need for strength that pushes her way beyond what she thought she could handle.
And that's where McFadden really makes Tegan feel real, I think. Believable, empathetic.
Even when she does things that seem reckless.
Especially then, maybe. Because those decisions are almost always rooted in that fierce, overwhelming need to protect her child. It's not just her survival, it's little Tuna's future.
So it elevates it beyond just a personal struggle.
Exactly. It becomes more universal, almost mythic in a way. You see her pushing through pain, resisting the manipulation, finding courage she probably didn't know she had, all because of the baby. Makes her journey super engaging.
And layered on top of that, you have this constant theme of trust and betrayal, which is, let's be honest, kind of a McFadden specialty.
Oh, definitely. She loves playing with trust.
The lines between real care and, sinister coercion get incredibly blurry, especially with Polly's actions. You're constantly second-guessing, how can someone seem so kind but have these dark agendas? What does that mean for Tegan trying to figure out who to trust?
It keeps you totally on edge. The danger isn't some obvious monster, it's the people offering help.
Yeah.
And what's really unsettling about the betrayal here is how it creeps up on you. It's not usually one big sudden twist.
More gradual.
Yeah, it's a slow burn realization for Tegan that the people who supposedly saved her are actually the ones running the nightmare. McFadden uses little things, inconsistencies in stories, weird behavior, that growing isolation to build the unease.
So the reader feels as lost as Tegan.
Pretty much. You're constantly reevaluating who's telling the truth. How deep does this manipulation go, especially when someone's that vulnerable?
And then, of course, there's the isolation and deception. That remote, snowed-in setting, it's more than just a backdrop, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's practically another character. It intensifies everything.
And that supposed sanctuary, the basement room.
Becomes a prison, physically and psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
It perfectly mirrors her emotional entrapment. The environment itself is weaponized.
That makes sense. How does that environmental isolation work psychologically?
Well, when you're cut off physically, your whole world shrinks.
Right.
Down to just that house, those people. Every little sound, every expression on Hank or Polly's face gets magnified. The helplessness just grows and grows because there's no escape hatch, no easy way to get help.
So it makes her internal struggle worse.
Exactly. Her doubts, her paranoia, her fight to stay sane, it all feels as real and terrifying as the physical danger. McFadden uses it really well to trap the reader inside Tegan's limited perspective, making the deception feel incredibly claustrophobic.
What I find really compelling, though, is the complex morality. The characters, they aren't just good guys and bad guys.
No, definitely shades of gray.
Right, like Polly. She's driven by this intense grief, this desperate longing. It doesn't excuse anything, but it makes her human in a twisted way.
It gives her a motivation, however warped.
And Hank, he's complicit, definitely. But you see flashes of doubt in him, maybe some internal conflict.
Yeah, he's not a pure villain either.
And even Tegan, she isn't perfect. She has flaws, this questionable past the book hints at.
Yeah.
It adds layers, makes her feel more real than just a typical thriller heroine.
Yeah, and that moral ambiguity, that's what really elevates the thriller, I think. Pulls it beyond simple good versus evil.
It challenges your assumptions.
Totally. By showing Polly's motivations, McFadden forces you to grapple with how tragedy can push people to do terrible things. It doesn't justify it, but it complicates it.
And Tegan's past.
It's not just window dressing. It subtly affects her judgment, her suspicion of others, maybe even her resilience. It makes you think critically, not just about what's happening, but why. And what it says about human nature under pressure. Who deserves sympathy? When does pain cross the line into something monstrous?
Yeah, exactly. And these themes really pop through specific lines. Let's look at a couple. This one really speaks to Tegan's background, that moral ambiguity we were talking about. How do you know what's right or wrong without your mother telling you so?
Wow. Yeah. That line hits hard. It immediately flags Tegan's vulnerability, maybe a shaky moral foundation from her past.
Right.
For a character to question her own sense of right and wrong in that situation, it adds another whole layer to her struggle. It hints her judgment might be clouded not just by fear, but by an internal compass that's maybe never been properly set.
It makes you wonder if she'll make the right calls.
Exactly. Or if her past will somehow trip her up. It subtly ramps up the suspense because her heroism feels more fragile, more earned if she succeeds.
Okay, and then there's this moment of stark realization for Tegan, a real turning point where things start clicking into place. I don't know who Polly is, I finally say. I never heard the name before in my life.
Oh, yeah. That's a gut punch. For Tegan and for the reader, too.
Definitely.
It's that moment where she fully gets the scale of the betrayal.
Yeah.
That the entire identity she was given was just a lie, a
Yeah.
construct,
It moves beyond just suspicion.
into undeniable proof of deceit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and narratively, that's huge. It's the pivot point where Tegan shifts from being mostly a passive victim to someone actively fighting back, because now she knows who her enemies really are.
Classic psychological thriller moment.
Absolutely. McFadden nails that reveal, pulling the rug out from under everyone at the same time.
So with these compelling themes, these complex characters, let's talk about how the crash actually landed with readers and critics. It's always interesting, right? What works, what doesn't quite hit the mark.
Always fascinating.
Okay, on the praise side of things, a lot of readers absolutely love the twists. McFadden's known for it, right? Building believable characters and then just, boom, betrayals, revelations you didn't see coming.
It's definitely her signature move.
Yeah, and the emotional stakes are another huge plus for many. That vulnerability of pregnancy, motherhood, it just amplifies the fear, makes it urgent, resonates really deeply.
Creates a very strong connection.
And the pacing, for a lot of the book anyway, people describe it as a real page-turner. Just keeps you hooked chapter after chapter.
It's true, she's great at delivering those aha, or maybe oh no, moments. Her strength is building that seemingly normal reality and then just pulling it apart piece by piece.
It's often about character twists, too, not just plot.
Exactly. Someone you thought you understood shows a completely different side. And that emotional intensity around Tegan and Little Tuna definitely drives that page-turning quality. You're just constantly worried. But yeah, the very things that make it a page-turner, a relentless focus on plot, the big reveals, sometimes that can mean less, maybe deep nuance for all the characters,
Yeah.
beyond the main ones.
That's a really good point. And it leads right into some of the criticisms, because not everyone found it flawless. Some readers point to character development, feeling like certain character, maybe besides Tegan and Polly, feel a bit underdeveloped. Or maybe just plain unlikable.
The secondary cast.
Yeah. Others mention pacing lags, certain scenes, maybe subplots, feel a bit unnecessary, slow things down, especially maybe in the middle somewhere.
That middle section sag can happen in thrillers.
And for some readers, certain plot points or twists felt a bit predictable. Or maybe relied on convenient coincidences, which can, pull you out of the story for a second.
And that's the tightrope walk for popular thrillers, isn't it? It's often about trade-offs.
Also,
Well, if you're prioritizing constant tension and those shocking twists, you might not have the page count to fully explore every minor character's backstory. Or you might need a couple of, let's say, convenient narrative jumps to keep the plot hurtling forward.
so it depends on what the reader values most.
Exactly. It's about understanding those genre conventions. Are you okay with a slightly less fleshed out side character if you get a really satisfying twist? Or does a moment that stretches belief bother you too much? It really comes down to personal taste.
Okay, so let's do a quick breakdown then. What's really working well in the crash? That powerful mix of emotional vulnerability and real physical danger. Tegan, as a protagonist with both strength and believable flaws, feels very real, very engaging. And that whole mystery around Polly, is she a villain or just deeply broken? That sustained tension is super effective, keeps you guessing.
Definitely keeps you guessing about her motives.
Right, but then what's potentially less strong? Those slower parts that might test your patience if you demand nonstop action. And maybe moments where you need to suspend your disbelief a bit for certain twists or why characters do what they do.
You're just going to go with it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Lean into the ride, even if it gets a bit bumpy logically. So after all this, the big question. What does this mean for you, the listener? Should you dive into the crash? Here's my take. This book is absolutely worth picking up if you enjoy psychological thrillers, especially ones that dig into moral ambiguity.
If you like those gray areas.
Yes. And if stories where pregnancy or motherhood are central, high-stakes elements appeal to you. And crucially, if you're not super bothered by a bit of messiness in the pacing sometimes, or a few predictable beats,
If you love the twists and that visceral fight for survival.
then yeah, this is probably right up your alley. Now, on the flip side, if you prefer really tightly plotted thrillers, minimal confusing side characters, or narratives that are just super polished where every single detail clicks perfectly,
You might find parts a little frustrating.
yeah, you might. It's not high literary fiction, but it is a masterclass in building suspense. But even with those potential imperfections, I think the visceral moments, that raw emotional core, Tegan's fierce love for her baby, her trust issues, that desperate fight against these overwhelming odds, it makes it a really strong, impactful read.
It definitely hits you emotionally. Draws you right into her ordeal.
It does. And hey, if you're budget conscious or just want to test it out first,
Library.
Library, exactly. Or try an audiobook sample, see if the style grabs you. I think the key is just going in with the right expectations. Know that you need to lean into the uncomfortable stuff, the betrayal, the fear, the helplessness. That's where the book's power lies.
Don't expect a cozy mystery.
Definitely not cozy. Expect to be unsettled.
And managing those expectations is so important, especially with books that get a lot of buzz like McFadden's often do.
True, hype can be tricky.
Yeah, it can set this impossibly high bar, right?
Mhm.
So any little flaw seems huge. But if you go into The Crash, knowing it has moments of real brilliance, but also maybe some spots that stretch belief or slow down.
Then you can appreciate the strengths better.
Exactly. You appreciate what it does incredibly well without getting hung up on maybe some genre-typical weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
It's about meeting the book on its own terms.
Yeah.
And deciding if that specific kind of fast-paced, high-stakes psychological ride is what you're looking for right now.
So we've really taken a journey through The Crash today, looked at the premise, the unsettling themes, how people have reacted to it. It's definitely a book that explores how easily help can become a trap and how that instinct to protect, especially a child, is both this incredible strength and maybe a profound vulnerability.
A testament to a mother's will, really.
Yeah, against just unthinkable odds. I want to leave you with one last line from the book. It perfectly captures that moment when everything just clicks for Tegan in the worst way. And now it all makes a sudden horrible kind of sense. Isn't it? It's that moment where all the weird details, the unsettling feelings, the lies, they suddenly snap together into this terrifying but logical picture.
The whole horrifying truth revealed.
Yeah. And it's a powerful reminder, I think, of how often in life or in books, those little unsettling things can pile up until suddenly, boom, the whole picture changes and you question where safety ever really was.
Makes you look back and see all the clues you missed.
Exactly. That shift from comfort or perceived safety to chilling clarity. So if you do decide to read The Crash, or if you already have, we'd genuinely love to hear from you. What was your favorite quote? What twist totally blew you away?
Or maybe one you saw coming.
Yeah. Let us know. Find us on social media. Until next time on The Deep Dive, keep seeking truths and, of course, keep turning pages.
Subscribe to the Timeless Tales podcast. Your stories, your time.